This is the Outliers Edge podcast, where we champion the leaders who are shaping the next era of humanity by taking them to the edge of their comfort zone so that they can lead us to the edge of what's next. I'm your host, Niiamah Ashong. Let's do this. Hey y'all, how's it going? Niiamah Ashong here, founder of Outliers Edge and the leader of the Trailblazer Oasis, where we champion the leaders who are shaping the next era of humanity. It's really fun here because today we get to play with one such leader. His name is Jordan Talley, and Jordan and I actually just came into into connection. We came in, and what I get about Jordan is that he has a message that's on the world, that he's putting out into the world. He's had an experience of life, and he's now like in the space of transforming and bringing that message out into the world. In a bit, I'm going to bring Jordan on to share a little bit of his story and beyond. But as Jordan and I were connected beforehand, we realized that there may be an opportunity here. And the opportunity here is just to really play in terms of like supporting what he's building and looking toward the future rather than spending a lot of time going to the past. Let's go toward the future and see like how can we help support what it is that he's bringing out to life. So we're gonna have some real time coaching in this space here, and we're gonna bring it out here and we're gonna play with this. And I realized like I'm super excited for this. One, I feel like it's far more outliery than a typical interview kind of conversation. Two, it puts me on my edge. There are times in the past where I've done coaching conversations and they've been shared as different resources and podcast stuff, but they were always with people that I knew. And that had but like Jordan and I, we're meeting each other for the first time. And I really got to say, Jordan, first, just welcome to this conversation.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. I really want to say I respect you already because we were figuring out like how do we want this conversation to go? Where are some opportunities to really make this like truly impactful? And I brought up the idea of like, hey, why don't we just do this in real time and make like have people be able to go through like learn about themselves through your thing, through your experience, see new perspectives through your lens there. Sure. And Jordan, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you talked about like what was the thing you said right before we got on? You said, I was like, are you good with this? And you said something to me that was really important.
Scary.
Yeah, you said it's scary.
Transparency and openness and honesty.
Yeah, that like this is why I feel so energized coming in here because like, yeah, you're like, look, I'm a transparent and honest person, like, but this is scary for me, but it's a good kind of scary, right? Right. And I'm calling that into this space right now because like what we do here at Outliers is that we don't give out theory. It's all about application. It's all real, and Jordan, you saying yes to this is like already an example because of like what it feels like to play out on your edge, to be in that place of like, it's scary, but it's a good scary. And I really just want to like we're going to give you a chance. I want to just get to know you more. I want people to get to know you more. But I want to also just like acknowledge, regardless of what you have done and where you have been, I see who you are right now. And I am really excited to be in conversation with you. Thank you so much for being you and bringing this to this conversation.
Likewise.
Awesome. So Jordan, why don't we take a few minutes here just to like kind of just get to know you, get to understand like your journey. So why don't we take me like if we were going to meet you about 5 years ago till now, like why don't you give me a little bit of like give us a little bit of your journey. Tell me a bit of your story here. We'll spend a few minutes on that and then we'll see what's coming next.
Sure. So 5 years ago, 2017, I was still in customer service. I'm out of Napa, California. I've always loved meeting new people. I've just always loved people in general. 5 years ago, I was in a wellness company where we educated people. We educated the masses on a technology that brought in a NRF2 protein from the body and helped you, decrease the aging process. And so we were pioneering that technology in the marketplace. And at that time, that was really my kind of a beginning to me uncovering different parts of my message, just through live events, through meeting certain people that just opened certain doors. It was really kind of a big time for me as far as developing into a leader, developing that mindset of leading other people, but not through a avenue of dictatorship, rather just from a place of love, and leadership. And so, I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, but that's kind of where I was at. I grew up a dreamer. I grew up somebody that had big goals and big dreams. And so 5 years ago, there was just kind of it was a continuation, I guess, if you will, from dreams that I had as a child.
Yeah. So like as I hear this here, I'm like, I get excited because I'm like, you grew up a dreamer. Let me just ask you, are you still a dreamer?
Always will be to the day I die. That's if I had to live with one thing, that'd be it.
Yes.
That would be
Awesome.
it.
That's it. They're like, and I get excited because I feel like we're going to be able to play with some of your dreams as this goes on here. So
For sure.
that feels really, really good. So like you were in a part of like 5 years ago, you're uncovering parts of your message. You were like learning more about your leadership and so on and so forth. Tell me here, like, I'm curious, what is your message? If there was a mission that you're about, if there's a message that you had to go out there, if there's something that like drives you forward, kind of pulls you forward in terms of
Mhm.
like what is that for you?
That would be that you can do whatever you set your mind to, that you can achieve any dream that you have, and there's nothing in the world that stops you besides you. And that's coming from a place of love and experience. Um, you can virtually do whatever you want. And we've had time after time where we put man on the moon. Henry Ford created the Ford, right? That changed the world. Um, right, the Wright brothers with the airplane. People once said that you can't fly.
Now I'm going to ask you a question here. For you,
Mhm.
Jordan, what's one of the dreams that for you, it doesn't matter like how, if other people would consider it a dream or not, but for you, it was a dream that like that maybe others told you couldn't have accomplished, or maybe you even told yourself that you weren't going to be able to accomplish. What's a dream? Make it real for me from like your lived experience. What's one dream that you brought to life?
Being a speaker,
Yeah,
being,
yeah,
being a speaker. Um, just be. I remember the dream came years ago through a separate sales organization,
yeah,
and it was interesting. What was interesting, that dream came to me right when I was about to quit.
yeah. Huh.
And it was such a powerful experience. I had no clue where I wanted to go up until that point.
Yep.
I knew I wanted to go somewhere. I just didn't know where that where was. And I met a few very successful people in the sales organization. My aha moment was realizing what they did for a living was they empowered people through servant leadership. They did it on stage in front of live audiences. They made a lot of money and they gave back the majority of it. And they were humble and they set their own schedules and they flew all around the world with who they wanted to and when and dictate their own schedule. And for me, that was, I was maybe 22, 23 at that point when that hit. And I just made it a mission to hit that, get to that point, no matter how long it took me to get there, no matter what I had to go through, I would do it. And so that just became my driving force. And that message of you can do whatever you want, like you to not let people, society, don't to not let messaging from the world, from the outside world, tell you that you can't do something.
Mm,
Um, but more, I had it more so of I didn't have my peers or my family or my social circles telling me I couldn't do something. It wasn't more about that for me. That wasn't the struggle. The struggle for me was, who am I to say that I can do that? It was a self-worth thing. It was a worthiness. Can I really do that? No one in my family's ever done that. No one in my family's ever spoken on stage in the capacity in the way that I want to. And but one thing I also kept in mind was, I grew up an artist, and so I understood that flow was the one of the most important things in creating art, but let alone anything really, because that flow is really the essence of who we are as a human spirit, because we're spirit. And um, so I always kept that in mind. And so at one point I just thought, well, I can't be the only one
Mm.
that's had similar thoughts, experiences. There's got to be countless of others. If we have over 7 billion people on this planet that are only going through one thing, and that just doesn't make sense to me. So I wanted to make people, the center focus, the stage, so I can write. So there you go. Hope that kind of answers the
Well, yeah,
question.
and it does. And like, let's play on this one. I like you said, I can't be the only one. And it's fun because here at Outliers Edge, like we spend time with a lot of people who think of themselves in certain shape or form as one of the only. Like, and look, I recognize it's something that I cultivate, right? I'm like, you're one of the only, one of the first. We're pioneers, we're Mavericks, you're like,
Right,
but
right.
but at the same time, and at the same time, it's like, but we aren't alone, you know, like we
Right.
aren't alone. No one else has lived Jordan's life from the moment he was born onward. Like you're the only one that's done that. But to have found that to there are people out there in the world who've been artists that are like, I want to make sure I'm expressing and sharing my message in a different way. Are there people who have been inspired by others and said like, hey, I need to go out there and empower people, make a lot of money, give a lot of it away, dictate your own schedule, so on and so forth? Absolutely, right. And it's in that spirit. I love that. I like that feel of I can't be the only one. And how that like shifts it from being like this isolating thing of like, who am I to like, oh, there's a bunch of us out there. I may not know them. And maybe it's if I'm getting you right, there's some elements like, so maybe it's my responsibility to be one of the people so that if someone else is looking for it, they know to come in, they can at least see me here and know that this story's out in the world. Am I
Exactly.
getting that?
Exactly.
Awesome.
Spot on.
Awesome. Like I also really appreciate you talking about like where your struggle really lied. You're like my struggle was like, who am I to say I can do that? And can I really do that? And
Mhm.
you brought up something that got my made my chest tight, where you're like, no one in my family has done it.
Mhm.
I'm first generation from Ghana, West Africa,
Mhm.
born in the States, and it's one of the things that has like colored my life has been this element of like being one of the first. It's like my parents had a rich experience, but like they came from another country originally,
Mhm.
and so like it was like a different culture that we were taking on, and so on and
Mhm.
so forth. So there's so many things that I was like, oh, I'm figuring it out, you know. And I will never forget a conversation I had with a friend who we went to college together, and we had graduated and we're getting like dinner sometime later in the future, and he said, the reason that I went to school for the major that I graduated with, it's like there was someone in my town where I grew up, and like the the person who I had known, who had accomplished the most, who felt like they were like the most respected, like the person that I respected the most and all that, like he was involved in this type of work. It
Mhm.
wasn't so and so I figured out that I needed to get this major to get that type of job.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until like a year or two into, where he's like, wait, I didn't even know that it was possible to go and do something else. I didn't
Mhm.
know there was even more above that. I was going for the highest thing that I could get at that time. And
Mhm.
so when you talk about like no one in my family had done it, there's this element that really makes me like, it grips me, because it gives
Mhm.
that element of like, if we don't see it, sometimes we don't even know that it's possible to even pursue.
Mhm. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So take me here. You had 5 years ago, you're working in the sales organization. You had this dream of becoming the speaker. It's been with you actually for much longer than just the 5 years. Take me up to today. Like where are you today?
Mhm.
And then what we'll do is that we'll then spend the rest of the time like looking into the future, and then I'll support you through powerful coaching and well,
For
just
sure.
powerful, ongoing powerful conversation. How about that?
Right. For sure. Where I'm at today. So that same time, that within those 5 years, um, the few people that I was involved with in the wellness company, we'd actually transitioned to a stem cell company about 3 years ago. Um, one of my dear friends. I trust him with my life,
Mhm.
and he's that person for me where he stretches me, he challenges me, he helps me grow. Um, he doesn't care if I want to hear it or not. He's gonna deliver it to me, but it's
Glad
all
you
out of
have
love.
something. I'm glad you
Exactly.
have someone like that in your life.
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful because he's the one that daily, encourages me and tells me I'm the best, and just supports me and encourages me, and you can do it. Um, so he received a call from an uncle of his who was a turnaround specialist. He had taken a financial company from $1 a share to $40 a share, and he did it. He's done that multiple times. So his line of family he came from success. Basically,
Mhm.
he himself grew up a boxer. He went pro at one point. So, um, but through the years of working with him, he's always been very humble, and character and integrity have always been what his core values. So he reached out to me and a few others, and said, "We've got this. My uncle's got this stem cell company. They went under a few years ago, and now they're looking to. He bought the company. Now they're looking to revamp the company with brand new leadership, who will basically rebuild this company from the ground up and take it to $1 billion company. And I want you to be part of it." And I said, "Okay." And
Yeah.
so I looked. Um, I was open, and I was already pretty much in. I was already pretty much in. Um, because I've learned, if there's one thing I've also learned, is that the people that come into your life that make the most impact in ways that help you grow, and it's all natural. Hold on to them as hard as you can, because they don't come along very often. And um, so we got involved 3 years later. So which that's led me down the wellness company that I was with prior got me ready for the leadership that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I've spoken on our we haven't done we've done maybe two actual live events since the pandemic.
Hmm.
Um, and so, but otherwise we, resort to Zooms for our conference calls, our monthly meetings and all that sort of stuff. And so I've been a guest speaker on the platform probably 7 times altogether. Um, Done a few guest trainings, a lot of fun, but also those have always been the directions that I've been looking to go.
Yeah.
Um, we went public last year. We're very excited about that.
That's it. Hmm.
Um, I mean, I've sponsored people who bring on like 40 customers in less than a 3 month period, and that's very quick, very fast for our industry. Um, so I'm very excited about where we're at, but I'm more excited about where we're heading. So
Nice. Nice.
I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, let's keep playing. Like I'm just trying to get a little bit of, as I'm asking these questions here, I'm getting a sense for you. I'm getting a sense for what's important for you. Uh, uh you'll find with me that like I have conversations on multiple levels, right? And ultimately
Mhm,
my goal here is that I want to just make sure I see you. And if I can
mhm,
see you, then everything's taken care of. We're gonna make sure that like how do I say it? Let me put it another way. My goal is to make sure that like I see you enough to actually support you,
mhm,
and to meet you. I like while we're having this conversation right now, and other people are going to be able to learn from it and benefit from it, and so forth. You and I are also building a relationship,
right, right.
and as I go through this year, I'm like, I want to know like what drives Jordan, like what like he's here to make an impact in this world. Like
Mhm,
he's been thinking
mhm,
about world changing for so long. Like how does he go about thinking about it? What is he? Where are his strengths already? What are the systems that he has in place? What works for you?
mhm,
So I'm
mhm,
so all this stuff is just really useful and helpful. And the way I love to look at it is to give space for some of that in here.
mhm,
And then go off and play and say, okay, now where do you want to take it? Right.
mhm,
So in this case here, Jordan, I want to ask you, I think it's we talked earlier about like creating a space that will be like here to support you with what's coming up next for you. This
mhm,
this feels really good for me. I'd love to be in a space where we spend like the next however long here, 15 to 30 minutes, just like focused on you and supporting you here in a really powerful like conversation. Are you good with that?
Sure.
Okay. Sure doesn't really work for me though. Yes
Yes.
or
Thank
no
you.
works for me. Yeah, no, it's absolutely what happens with me, Jordan, is that I create really powerful, safe environments where people like, but the safety that's there also it gives them an opportunity to be brave, right? You're
Mhm.
living in it in real time, right?
Mhm.
It's like safe enough that like I got your back. I'm gonna like here, like we're on like I got you, you know, but brave where it's like, hey, by the way, do you want to like have this be coached as part of like this conversation, you know? And the key is that you stepped into it.
Mhm.
So let's look into this here for you, Jordan. I think we need another context to talk about like for like the business and the company that you were just like describing. But let's
Mhm.
now just focus on you. All right.
Mhm.
You're a dreamer. So I want to go back to dreams,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
I have a track record of having life-changing conversations. Another way
Mhm.
of putting this, I've consistently have helped people step into their dreams over and over again. And to take the dreams that felt like if they're at point A, a lot of times we're like, how do I go from A to B? And B is like, B is like actually like by the time I'm like dead, I want to accomplish all this. How do I go from A to B? I'm like, all right, that's actually like Z or beyond, but I can still help you bring all that into to the present. So if this was going to be a life-changing conversation for you, Jordan, this is going to be a life-changing conversation for you, what would we need to talk about?
Hmm. There, there's a missing the missing link for me, I guess, is taking what I have been doing for years already, presently, and helping other people do the same thing I'm doing and doing it in their own way, where they're figuring it out how it works for them. Because I don't want to coach or teach people to do what I'm doing the same exact way that I'm doing. If it works for them, that's great. But I want them to create it their own way because that it's unique to them. Um, so I guess it would be that mindset of, I guess, helping others do the same thing I'm doing in their own unique way, if that makes sense.
It makes a ton of sense. It makes a ton of sense to me. Um, I'm curious, like, how do you want to do that? And I ask you that
Mhm.
question here. There'll be times as we talk about this here. There'll be times where I'll be able to I'll stay abstract with you or kind of like higher level, and there'll be times we get like kind of granular and such. Uh, I get I understand what you're saying in the sense. I don't
Sure.
know the specifics of what you're saying, but I understand what you're saying. So my question for you is this: like you want to go. The missing link for you is to help people basically accomplish what you're accomplishing in their own way, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and my question is like, how do you want to do that? Like, what's your way of doing that? An example is what you just described there. That's what I feel. I'm like, look, I'm out here and I'm shaping the world right now.
Mhm.
I'm shaping the next era of humanity. The way that I choose to do that is to coach. The way I choose to do that is to like bring people into like a podcast. The way that I choose to do that is to record really through the vehicle of conversation. You know, like so when you say that, like you're experiencing my way of of doing it, and I know you have your own way and so on and so forth. So all that is to say, like, how do you see yourself helping them create their own way?
I see I see myself writing books,
Mm,
personal growth and development. I also grew up a writer, so um, I feel like there's a lot of experiences that I've had that are very unique that most people just don't have, or that would think, well, that would never happen to me. That I feel like I could share with people to where it gives them a different perspective. So through books, audio programs, um, speaking on stage, and through my line of business that I'm involved with, it's also a platform to teach others to do what I'm doing, which is getting them to basically reach out and educate others about natural stem cells. And so from a health standpoint and how they could actually just gain their time back, their time freedom back. And so it's doing that through a daily method of operation, meaning what are you doing on a daily basis that's going to take you in those directions that you want to go. So I hope that answers the question, but
yeah, it does. And the thing is, it's fun with me, Jordan. Our conversations tend to, the thing that's necessary will emerge. I'm keep answering it. And if you don't answer my question, I'll ask it again. But I'm seeing some of the things here. You talked about a daily method of operations, right? Oh, I guess rather before I go there, I'll come to that in a bit. You said the missing link is to help people like create in their own way. Then you also just said, well, I'm kind of doing that in my line of business as it is right now. You talked about like you would write, you would do books, you would do like, you would do audio programs, you would speak on stage, you're an artist, I'm sure you can do some art around it as well. Right. So what's holding you back from it? What's keeping that from being a reality, or you experiencing what you created as a reality? It feels like you're talking to me in a podcast. Like there's some speaking that's happening. You're not on stage, but there's like, it feels like you have little bits of this going on. And I think I'm really curious as to like, what's missing from what you have right now that you're like, okay, this is what I would really want.
Repeat the question.
Yeah. So you see yourself writing a book and stuff. I guess the question is, you said that the missing link for you is that you want to help people create their own way, right? And my question is like, what's missing in that link for you? Because you're doing some of the things right now.
I guess it's the confidence that I can do it, that people will actually that I believe in myself enough to where people will follow me and do it.
Okay, awesome. So let's keep playing with this here. What I've often found is that when people are looking for confidence, or if they're looking for clarity, either one of those two, what's really missing for them is courage. There's an element of like, okay, yes, I know. To me, and the reason is that the confidence, we think confidence comes first, but it's actually courage that comes first, and then the experiences of that leads to confidence, right? So let's look at it through the lens. If we want confidence, let's go first and look at courage. What is it that like, if you were like courageous enough to do, would change everything for you?
If I was courageous enough, to do anything, what would it be?
Yep. Like that. What is it that if you're courageous enough to do it would change everything for you? What's one thing?
I guess I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind is reaching out to every single person I know and telling them about what I'm doing. But other than that, nothing's really coming to mind.
So let's slow down on that and reflect now, right? Because if there's nothing else coming to mind, then it's like it's how do I say it? You can get from one destination to another, driving down the street while only seeing just a few feet ahead of you at a time, right? Even on a foggy day, it doesn't mean you can't get to your destination, right? So what I'm hearing from you is that there's fog beyond that, right?
Sure.
Like it's a metaphorical fog here, and like what I can see is reaching out to everyone that I know and let them know what I'm up to in the world. Okay, what if we just like before going to anything else here? What if we just did that? What if that was the only step that you needed to do? And be like, yeah, let me ask you, like, imagine with me for a bit here, right? That you've gone out you leave this call, you take the time and you just send out a message to one person that you know. You started it out and just got the ball rolling with one person that you know. You wrote the email or you sent the message that you really wanted to get out into the world, right? And then and then imagine yourself doing that day after day, minute after minute, like, and just getting this out with the people who already know you, right? How would, like, tell me, what do you see when you're doing that? What do you see about your connection to your message, to your growth, to your forward progress? Like, how does that feel to you? And what do you see when you imagine that?
When I imagine that, I see I see peers that that I used to, what do you call it? Measure my success, compare my level of success to theirs, and just feel inadequate about it. I see that those limitations gone, and I see us like shaking hands, agreeing to do business together, and creating change where I'm helping them see things differently, and creating change for them. That's what I see. That's what I see.
Yes. All right. So there's a couple of different things here, right? So one of them is just like making sure that everyone in your world knows about this. All right. And two, what I'm also hearing is that, like, there's actually also a smaller subset of people who, like, you find yourself comparing yourself to. It's like you're like rivals in different ways, or like they have a special space in your brain or whatever, like, that you're like, I think about this person. And it almost feels like that relationship changes from rivalry to like partnership. It's like, how can I support you? And basically business comes from that. Okay. There's a couple of different questions in my mind that are coming in, but, like, let me ask you, if that was the case, if reaching out to people led even just to that, how would that make you feel toward your goal, toward your dream? How would that be for you?
You repeat the question? How?
Yeah. If that was the case, if the people, like these people that you compare yourself with, like, now you're working with, you're helping them see new perspectives, it leads to business for you. How would that feel for you?
Very gratifying. Very gratifying, proud. Like I did something good in the world. That's how, that would be very humbling, enriching, I would say, as well.
Humility is one of your values, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard, like, you brought it into this conversation quite a few times here. So we'll see if we play with it. I'm seeing, like, where some of your values are. And I get that you can be an understated person, you can bring things out like, so I'm actually going to, okay, there's two things I'm going to play with some things here.
Okay.
Without breaking your value of humility, right? I'm going to invite you to come play in what I call, like, the brag zone. Right.
I knew this is where you were going.
Yeah. Because I want to try and see. I have a feeling that, like, I'll talk to you at some point. And you're like, oh yeah, there was a time when, like, I sent like 10 people to the moon. But like, it's like I'm like, there's this element here, like, so I'm gonna invite you to come into the brag zone. And the brag zone for me is like you don't have to worry about being humble. All right. You like, and the way I would look at it for you, since humility is one of your values, we can't break it. Right. One of the things that I do is, like, we can't just be like, don't be humble. That doesn't make any sense. Right. Especially if it's like who you are. I'm going to invite you to play at a level of humility that I'm going to, for the purposes of this conversation, I'll say like an additional level of humility that is like, it would be even more humble to let people know, like, the greatness that you bring out into the world, or that you brought out in the world, so that they, because you are putting yourself in service of their growth. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So like, let it be let's look at it from the lens of that it could be even more humble to just speak your honest truth about what you like, your both your accomplishments in the past. And I think what I tend to look at is when I ask people to enter the brag zone with high performers, it typically isn't what they've done in the past. Like while that does feel a little bit harder to share, it's really about their aspirations for the future. It's like that feels like it would be that they wouldn't be humble in saying like, well, I really want to impact millions of people by doing X, Y, and Z. And like that feels too braggadocious. So like, I want to give you that kind of space here. Are you cool playing in the brag zone with me for a little bit?
Let's do it.
All right, awesome. So if you didn't have to be humble, you know, or if your success was like the greatest sign of humility, because I get what you're saying. Like you talked earlier about the people that you've met, and the speakers were empowering people. They made a lot of money. They gave a lot of it away, you know, and they also dictated their own schedule, right? If your success was like the greatest sign of humility, what would you love to be created? What would you be creating differently?
What would I be creating differently?
Yep.
What do you?
I'll ask this question a different way. I'll ask this question. Like, thank you. Like, this is the fun part for me. I can ask a question and then take it back, right? Because the whole thing here is just to help you see some different perspectives yourself, right?
Sure.
Okay. Let's go with this. If you were looking at life or the work or the things that you're doing through the lens of like, actually, the more successful I am, the more humble, like the more humility I am actually showing. All right.
Okay.
What options become available for you that may not have felt available even just 5 minutes ago with the previous definition of humility?
What options would become available? Access to other people who've had a lot more success than me or anyone else has in my circle has had. Opportunities to speak on other stages is another opportunity. Speak on different platforms. Train sales organizations. Train big corporations, their leadership team. Writing forwards for people in their up and coming books. Speak to colleges, graduating classes, which is another big dream of mine. Speak at Golden Globe Awards. That's a way out there dream. Those are the things, the pertinent things that come to mind right now.
Yeah. Awesome.
Create millionaires. I want to create millionaires.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing, so access to a lot more people, opportunity to speak on different stages, be able to train big corporations, writing forwards for people's books, speaking the graduating classes, speaking in the Golden Globe Awards. I love that. And creating millionaires. Like this to me, if I'm hearing you right, this is where the dream is. The dream lies in this place here, right?
Yep.
And it's
live it. Yeah, I want to live my life in like luxury.
Yeah.
Big luxury.
All right, awesome. I want to give us space for that, right? Because it's like, how do I say it? You want to live your life in luxury, Jordan. Right. Like, let that let's say that. You want to create millionaires. You want to be millionaires. It's like, let's give all that space. You want to create so much like influence and impact that you're invited to speak at the Golden Globe Awards, right? Great. Like that's fantastic, right? And I want to give us space to like make sure that that's being said here, because at least like I hear all these things. I'm like, okay, cool. Like literally my mind goes into like, how do we get like 4 of these things on the list? I'm like, all right, great. We can make this happen probably in like next month for some of these things. It may not be like writing a forward to a book, may not be a New York Times bestseller immediately, but we can
Right.
get you into a forward, you know?
Mhm.
There's things that we can do to help make these things like start to come to life. In fact, let's do this here. I feel called to share with you one of my tools. I call it Start with One.
Mhm.
Right. So, well, let me check in because I feel myself feeling called to share the tool with you, but I
Mhm.
want to make sure that it's actually going to like really impact, like it's the most impactful thing for this moment. All right.
Sure.
All right. So you just shared a bunch of things with me here, right?
Mhm.
You're playing in the brackets and you're like, this is what I would really want, you know? Um, what would really support you in this moment? What would really support you in this moment? I'm curious about like if there's any challenges you feel like you're facing, any barriers to like bringing this to life that feel real for you.
I think being around people that have similar dreams,
Yeah.
that's a big one, because I feel like most of the people in my community, so my immediate like family, um, and just throughout the city, the town in general, there's not a lot of dreamers. And that's and unless I'm wrong, I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong, but I haven't found them.
Yeah.
And either they are there or they're not, and I just don't know yet. But it feels like to me there's not a lot of dreamers here. So I think being around like-minded people, that I've got a couple of them that I'm in connection with, but I'm thinking more, that it can be like an ongoing in-person friendship relationship kind of thing. But um so that'd be
Well,
one. Mhm.
yeah, let's slow down even on that. Like, just uh I have the sense that like I'm gonna invite you to come and join me. Like I do once a month, I do like a public masterclass where I bring in some like the coolest people I know at our plant and bring them into a space where they're able to be coached or connected or whatever it is together. Either a public one or like just look out. Like I'll probably invite you to something like this because I'm hearing like I know what it's like to I know the importance of being surrounded by other people who are thinking, I have to say different minded, but like hearted, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
To
Sure.
like to find those spaces where like, look, someone might be, doing stem cells, someone might be a speaker, someone might be a coach, someone might have like, been an Olympian, but they are all out there saying like we're out doing good in the world. We're like we're values driven and mission driven. I feel like you being in a space like that would really like light you up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Big time. Big time.
Okay. Okay. So let's play with it from this place here. I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up this conversation right now, but I'd like to wrap it up by bringing in a couple things that kind of floated to the surface for me, and I will actually share with you the Start with One tool. I think if it's intuitively coming, I'm going to share it, but I think I'm going to share it with you as a separate tool, not like, oh, you needed to do this right now. Does that sound good?
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right, cool. Are you open to me like sharing some of the things that I feel like I heard here? Would that
Yes.
would that be in service of you?
Sure.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Made sure.
So there's a couple different things that play out here. And essentially what I feel like the conversation that we had here really sits down to like, what is like the system for Jordan to create success his way, right?
Mhm.
He's already on the path, but for you to be able to continue creating success this your way for however many years you want to go and do it, like what are the things that are going to support you in making that come to life, right? One of
Mhm.
them you just said, which is like to find like-minded people who are dreamers. If I was gonna put it into like one sentence, it is like to find and celebrate and share time with and create
Yep.
more dreamers. If there was something I would leave this conversation saying, oh, you need to know Jordan Talley, like they're like, oh, what's he about? Well, like his thing in life is like he goes out there and he creates more dreamers. He helps people connect to their dreams. He helps people like find their dreams and find other dreamers so that they can actually like continue to do like the alchemy of turning their dreams into reality.
Mhm.
Does that sound like you, Jordan?
Yep.
Did I?
100%.
Okay. All right, cool. So like that, like at a certain point, I was like, oh, he's out there. We need to make your world around dreamers, right?
Sure. Yes.
And just put it out there. Like you're like, I'm a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer. I said, like, are you still like I will always be a dreamer, you
Yep.
know? Like there's something here around like a world of dreams, like that, like the with Jordan. Like that really feels like it's true, right?
Hmm.
I felt like I heard a just so you know, the for me is a really important sound, especially when we're playing the game of perspective changing and like looking at things from different ways. So what did that when you said the what landed for you there?
More of curiosity.
Yeah. What are you curious
Um,
about?
I'm just curious because you're painting a picture for me that's basically what I've been saying, but it's coming from someone else. It's not coming from me anymore. It's coming from you. It's so the is a mixture of curiosity and like, wow, we can really go there. And wow, that could be a possibility. Wow, that could be life changing. That's what's on my mind right now.
Yeah.
Um, that's what's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Jordan, I'm gonna get some because like I get that sensation. Like we've moved from the what if category or like who am I to category to like, wait, this actually could happen. I see what you're doing, you know, and I'll be upfront with you. Like just like in our beginning before we talked, and I was like, I'm kind of curious about like what I know you have a message, but like what is that message and how's it going? Like I was like trying to figure out like but I could tell that your heart is pure and that you care about what you're doing. I'm like, okay, let's spend some time. I want to spend some time really in service of this person because there's something here,
Mhm.
and it goes way more than a story, right? It's
Sure,
like it's
sure.
it's there's something that like you stand for something in the world, and just like when
Right.
I from what I'm hearing, it's like you stand for dreams. You stand for dreams, and there's a lot of people out there who don't. There are a lot of dream squashers. There are a lot of dream killers. There are a lot of people who are like, stay like we got to stay practical and be in reality. Um, and they miss out on the dreams that are possible for them. By the way, I just saw us break up for a bit. Were you able to hear all that, or did we break?
You cut dream squashers and dream killers.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so like there's dream squashers, there's dream killers, there's people out there who don't who don't create the space for someone's dream to live, you know? And what I get about you, Jordan, is that like you do it in an understated and a humble way. And my invitation to you is to like live into that element, live into the space of like of leveling up your humility on behalf of others, to be so humble you're not humble, so that others can gain from it.
Right. So
Is
I
that
bring them up to where I'm at.
yeah? So you create the space for them to come into where you are. Yeah, right. But
Right.
there's something about it. I love what you said earlier when you talked about the speakers, right? You said that they empower people, they made a lot of money, they were giving a lot of it away, they dictated their own schedule, and you said that they were also humble,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So there wasn't like a disconnect with making a lot of money. It wasn't a disconnect with like going out and sharing their stories. They were saying what needed to be said in
Mhm.
order to really like support people. And I feel like I'm gonna hide nothing to hold nothing back here.
Mhm.
I feel like there's there's a level of clarity of that like I just know that you know what you're about super
Mhm.
clearly, but there's almost like a fog that's put around it. you
Mhm.
know. So rather than just saying what it is that that needs to be said that can help us move forward, I feel like there's yeah, there's this there's a level of like, oh, Jordan, just say it. Just say like, I'm here for the dreamers. Like, I'm a dreamer myself. I'm like, just say it, you know.
Uh-huh.
How does that feel when I say that to you? Like
You want me to just say it?
yeah.
Okay. Man, you never know the man. Okay, I'm a dreamer. I stand for dreams, and I want to empower people to dream and get back to the dreamer side that they had when they were 5 years old. Because it's the dreams that change the world, not just by theory, but by actually implementing on the theories, because the theories turn into action, adventure, chasing, creating, rather than just living by default, living by someone else's standards, living by what the government tells us what we can do and can't do, how much we can earn, how much we can not earn. To me, our money should not go beyond who we are. Our money shouldn't consume who we are. It should be a reflection of who we are and the difference that we can make in the world, because that's what I stand for.
Hmm. It's a pleasure to meet you, Jordan. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what he's about. How does that feel coming out of you?
Like I've been needing to say that for a long time.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
I just couldn't go there for whatever reason. Couldn't go there.
yeah. What you just said there. Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
There's something that I feel like as you're recapping, I'm taking it all in. I'm when I'm in an experience, I'll soak it in.
Yep.
So sometimes people will look at me like, "You okay?" And I'm thinking, I'll say, "Yeah, I'm completely fine. I'm just soaking it in."
Yep.
And sometimes that creates a space of like, "Huh, what are they doing?" When you're taking in the moment, that's really the gold and the riches, in my opinion. Um, but as you're recapping, I keep hearing one thought that came to mind, and that was depression,
Mm. Tell me more.
because depression was a big struggle for me. And
Mm.
I think growing up an only child was a big part of it, because I didn't have someone to like talk to about my dreams. And when I did, I found a couple dreamers at an early age. Um, but things were so different back then. But you know, being 7, 8, 10, you're not really, I don't know, I wasn't talking about dreams. I was talking about skateboarding and creating home videos with, right? That's what we were doing, and catching tadpoles and things of that nature, and just getting into trouble. And there were conflicts between certain people in our groups, and that just eventually, and then all of us just kind of went our own way, as friends naturally do as we get older. But it just felt like it got harder and harder
Yeah.
to express those dreams, and so, but not having like a sister or a brother to really just be a soundboard and say, hey, these are my dreams and goals, da, 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 or just talk to and relate to, that had a huge impact on me. And because you mentioned the fog, and fog is usually the root of it, one of the roots is depression. And um so that was, and you know we mom and I were on government assistance, and it was hard to go from, I can't it was hard to hear, we can't afford this, or we can do this but barely get by. It was hard, and it played a role on my emotional state. And those kinds of events just kind of, for me, were the I guess, the driving force to live a life of my dreams. But also, it was also just kind of depressing my emotional state. because I knew and understood that enough that the emotional state was what told me what was really who I was. But at the same time, those experiences were squashing that at the same time, simultaneously. So just felt like it was good for you to know that and to hear that.
It's incredible for me to know that and hear that. But it wasn't just good for me. I feel it's also good for you.
Yeah, it was.
There's do you talk about for mom and I, like you talk about you and your mom on government assistance when you're, you know, talking about dreams when you're spreading your message? Does that come up in the stories?
In the stories, like between conversations, or not?
No, yeah, like
Or,
do you share that out with the world? Like do you share that out in the world? Like right now we know what you're up to in the world. We know that you're like in this like leading this.
not really, no.
Yeah.
No, because whenever I try to talk about dreams, whether it was 30 years ago or 5 minutes ago,
Yeah.
um, as I've gotten better and stronger in my skills as in leadership, you know, family has become more, my mom has become more supportive and of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about big things, big dreams, like don't talk about that.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that's been a depressing part. I think
Yeah.
that's fair to say.
So let's put in like two things here.
Mhm.
One, like I really felt you when you talk about like uh, are you good to go for just like another 5 minutes and then we'll wrap up the
Yeah,
conversation?
I'm fine
Okay.
on time. I was just
Uh,
looking at my battery.
all right, cool. The element here that catches me here is like one for the story that you're like, I get that you're about dreams. Like I just like it is like the same way that your value of like humility came out, like the like the element of dreams came in. And I can actually see the two of them being at odds with one another, you
Mhm.
know, like having incredible dreams, you know, but at the same time trying to be humble, you
Mhm.
know, or coming from humility, but then like thinking, oh wow, I would love to be doing like, look at wouldn't this be incredible? Like I
Mhm.
like as you talk about this, I can see like some places where maybe there may be some conflict, you know,
Mhm.
if and I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to offer the element of like deeper humility might be like the actual, are you humble enough to go after your dreams? Are you humble enough to put that out there? Like they're like it may actually be on the same paradigm, just levels and levels above it.
Deeper.
Is that deeper? Exactly. Actually, the deeper, perfect.
Mhm.
You get it, right?
Yes.
So they don't have to be in discord with each other. And I think that might actually like open up a lot of space for you.
Wow. I think, yeah, no. You're spot on. And I think for me, this um, conversation has been, for me, like my takeaway has been alignment.
Mm,
What this conversation has done from the moment we started talking till now, it's bringing things into alignment. And that's the thing. I just always keep an open mind because you never ever know for sure where it could go as far as a conversation with a connection, whether it's a stranger or someone you know personally. You never know where it's going to go.
yeah. Well, I had no clue we were going to go here. I like
Yeah.
myself. I haven't had a conversation where I'm like, no, we're going to stay in the conversation here. Um, let's wrap things up here.
Yep. For sure.
I do have a few like there are things that you've said that like I was synthesizing while to allow you to be in the experience. I was synthesizing, and I have some things that like they're not insights, they're my outsights based on some things that I saw.
Mhm.
Are you we can wrap up this conversation here. I'd love to like if you have a few more minutes and you're open to it, you know, I'm happy to share some of them with you. If you're like, no, I'm complete and I'm full, like I don't like it's like a cup. if a cup is full, like you don't like adding more water doesn't do anything to it. So
I want to go more, baby. Let's do it. Let's
okay,
go. Let's
okay.
go.
So let me just check. Let me share this here, and I'm going to share. If you're good with it, I'll share it while it's still in the recording part of the research, because I want to give people a chance to see some of what some of how this might culminate. Like, because we went in a bunch of different directions in the conversation, you know. And I'm going to bring in a couple of different things to be like, this is how I heard what you said. Is that good for you?
Interesting, for sure.
Okay, cool. So a couple of things that come up. One, as you're telling your story, like there's an element of like almost like a journey from depression to dreams that comes in, right? Depression, the emotion, like and like there's a story that's there. And like I asked you, I'm the one that set the story stage as like, hey, tell me what you're doing 5 years ago, right? But like if your story starts off with like mom and you on government assistance, like that's powerful. Because we see that, right? And we talked earlier about like my family, like I didn't see anyone else in my family like this, right? And I just think about the people out there who would look at you and not like and hear like, oh, he's a leader inside of this organization, he's doing this, that, and the other, he's leading all these teams, they just went public last year, and they wouldn't even begin to associate that or even think that like you came from humble beginnings in that way. Right? Is that a fair assessment to make?
Repeat the last part again.
That like essentially people will see where you are now, but they wouldn't understand like the journey that you've been on to get to where you're
for sure.
Right. So there's something in there as you're on stage, you're speaking, you're talking about your story, like in a space of courage. If it's not coming up in your conversations now, I think it's something that would add value to others along the way if you're willing to be humble enough to bring that in.
Sure.
Right.
Yes.
The other thing that I heard is like, I wrote down here, it's like, I feel it's like your job, Jordan, to get people to talk about dreams. All right. As much as there's like speaking on stage that's there, I feel like the real transformation is kind of like what happened in this conversation. Like there was many times when you told me your dreams. And then eventually I asked you to I'm like, you should go tell people that. You're like, right now? I just so you know, I didn't mean right now. But when you said it, I was like, yes, right now, go for it. And then you said it, and like your entire demeanor like shifted, like the amount of alignment that came in, like the power that was in your voice, not force. It was just very grounded, and you knew what you were here for. It was powerful to be in receipt of that. Right. And so like my thing is, there's two elements. You talk about your dreams. I talk about all the dreams that you had and the ways that you brought it to life and the systems that you use to make people's dreams come to life. Go do that. And give people a chance to talk about their dreams. When you're on stage out there, give people a chance to go talk to the person next to you and be like, share one dream that you have. And then, was that easy? Was that hard? I hear like you said as you get older, it got harder and harder to express those dreams. You talked about being an only child, and you're like, I didn't have anyone else to share those dreams with. And so I never got a chance to have a soundboard to get through it. Great. As you're looking for where your business can go, when you're reaching out to people and such, like, let them know you can be a soundboard for them, because you know what it's like to be in this space where it's like your dream doesn't have to be fully fleshed out. It can still be kind of hazy, but like, I get that. I know the importance of having the soundboard, so I can be there for you. So far, how are we doing? Does I feel aligned?
Something else is actually coming to the forefront of my mind now.
Bring it.
So let me make sure I got enough battery. Good. So within the last 5 years, this event that I had didn't happen within it was about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But I was at a company event. I've had a couple, I'll just expand overall. There's been a couple event instances, I guess, if you will, events where I've gone to, where I've been speaking on stage with the actual leader who's putting the event on or who's doing the training at the time. And they've been doing their craft for a long time, 20 plus 30 years. There have been a couple occasions where It's a similar coaching that you and I are doing right now,
Mhm.
but in front of, thousands of people. And so I only share that because it's I don't know if it's coming from like the bragging zone, or if I'm just letting you know that that's part of my background. That's kind of where I come from. And I feel like just that little tidbit of information helps you, as a coach and as a speaker. And um, one of those particular events, we were talking about, my father and what that experience was like.
Mhm.
And the exercise was to imagine myself as if I was him before as he made the decision to leave before I was even born. And then put myself in his shoes when he was a child and feel what that was like. And I don't know, I haven't quite gone there yet, but I'm just letting you know up front that those are a couple things that came to mind. So I wanted you to know.
Well, I'm grateful. Thank you for sharing it. I'm grateful on a couple of different levels. One, I get the sense that like our conversations like will continue. We're going to continue to grow our
Oh, for
relationship,
sure,
right?
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
all that will everything that needs to come into place will come into place, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that feels really good. I just
Yeah.
don't feel any time scarcity about it. We'll end this conversation soon, but I don't feel any time scarcity at all. Right? I'm like, okay, I'm glad that we're building this relationship. That's one.
Right. Right.
Two, I actually really grateful that you shared that element about on a personal level and professional level around like, look, I've been on many different stages where I've been on there and there's been this interaction, like it's been live, real time. Here we go, and the benefit, like the reason I'm grateful for it is because I tend to think I'm like, oh, people aren't going to want to have this type of experience, And so I like work my way around it, and I show up less than as powerfully as I can, because quite frankly, if I'm not doing this, like it's good being in space to me, it's good, but like there's a lot more power that comes through the person having an experience of themselves through my leadership, right? Through our
Mhm.
conversation, right? So there's a part of me that's just like, stop making this the stop going through the back door on this here. Like I totally wasn't expecting this, but I'm like, it's one of my favorite conversations we've had, because I'm like, we were actually coaching, and
Right.
we're in that space of that. So thank you, because you're the first person I've told externally about. I told you about like SNL. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to make you. I got to find out that balance and like really step into it. So I appreciate that from this
For sure.
standpoint. And then the third thing that came up here is like, it also fleshes out my understanding of like what speaking means to you. Part of the reason I do this, like live coaching and all this stuff, is because I saw someone else who did it, and I was like, they always said, oh, like they said you would be a great public speaker. People told me be a great motivational speaker. I'm like, I'm not really trying to do that, because it was always about me. And I'm
Mm.
like, how do I make it about them? Like that's really where it is. So what comes to my mind is like, oh, you've had an experience that's different than just the pure, I'm on stage talking for 15 minutes, letting you know, here goes all my slides. You, Jordan, have had experiences of being on stage. You know the impact of going through this experience live with others on stage, so on and so forth. As part of someone who's speaking, I'm like, I wonder if that becomes a part of what you do on stage, and you give people a chance to talk through their dreams, and you give people a chance to walk through it live. And it's it struck me like people just never got that opportunity. And
Mhm.
so like my invitation to you is, as you're looking at your speaking and the things that you bring out into the world, how do you create and bring them on stage to actually just be in that dialogue and expression as well? How does that feel to you?
Let's do it.
All right. I like that. I like that. Jordan, I think it's a good place for us to wrap up here. Um, I respect you. Like I'm grateful that you're out there bringing dreams, like helping people make their dreams come true, and actually just even bringing them out to life, and that life and the admittance for themselves. Um, what was your greatest takeaway from or insight from anything in today's conversation, and then we'll wrap up from there.
Alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lifting the fog.
Yeah.
Giving me, I feel like this has given me permission to not, I feel like this has given me permission to just keep dreaming and to actually make them into fruition, and to let others do the same thing, through my message, I guess. I feel like it's also giving me permission to not, I don't have to keep holding back as I have. And I could actually like target that and work on it, work through it to where it's not a hindrance. Those would be my few takeaways, and just the fact that that the dreams are possible and that they're there. And because to me, yeah, you know, dreams don't just come because they just come. Like, they're there in our subconscious mind and in our paradigm for a reason. You know, I've heard before a famous quote by, I've heard it from Les Brown, a speaker. You know, the richest place in the world is the graveyard, because 95% of the people in the world go in to the burial ground with dreams and goals and aspirations inside of them. And I've just never ever wanted to be that kind of person. I want to squeeze out every single thing I can, no matter how pretty or ugly it looks to other people, no matter how much people agree with it, or whether they don't, or whether they do. I need to do it, because that to me is, I won't have it. And I want other people to know this, to feel the same way, but do it in their own way. Because to me, each person has a way of creating and expressing. To me, you can be just as creative in the world of construction and demolition than you can as an artist painting. It's not per se being creative the same way in both avenues, but it's harnessing that flow, like we talked about earlier. How do you access flow when you have an artist who's painting, and then you have a construction guy who's building and destroying things, right? Those are two different ways of worlds. And so anyway, without getting long-winded there, that was all of what I took. So I'm extremely grateful for this experience, and I'm really looking forward to more.
Yeah, absolutely. So am I, Jordan. Like, and this is it. Like you said, like you process things. There'll be more in terms of what other takeaways you get. Please give yourself, like, take the 10 minutes and like write down some of this stuff. Like, whatever you do to capture this, like, it's important. It's important here, because what you are doing is important. I will say this. Let me just let you know what you are here to do. Your message, it's important. All right. I want to make sure that you hear this from me. So take the time, write down, capture whatever it is, so that if there's a day where you're like, I'm losing track, or is this just you can come back to this and reorient yourself. And yes, this is just the beginning of an amazing relationship. I believe in you, and I'm really, really excited for like what happens, because you chose to show up for people in this way, and to declare what you are here for, and to create that dream, the dream that you can make a life built on dreams, helping other people accomplish their dreams. That right there, I'm so down for it. I'm so down. I'm in your corner on that one. Sound good to you?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, Jordan, it's been an absolute pleasure. All right. I will talk to you soon. Oh, if anyone wants to like continue down the path with you, or like get connected to you, how can they go about and do that?
Say it one more time.
If anyone wants to get like connected to you, how can they go about and connect with you?
LinkedIn is one way. Okay. I go by Howard on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
My email is Jordan Talley 1987 at Gmail.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook. There's a few different profiles. Facebook has a hard time getting rid of my others, but just Jordan H. Talley on that one. Yeah. And then phone number as well. Is that fine? Or
you can share whatever you want. I feel like this is enough for people to get get moving on
That's
you, and
perfect.
then
Okay, that's fine
yeah,
then. Yeah, that's
yeah.
perfect. Yeah,
All right,
LinkedIn, Howard Talley. That's me. You'll see stem cell activation.
yeah.
That's what you'll see.
All right. Awesome. All
Right.
right. Well, and when you're ready for it, don't forget to add like I don't know, champion of dreams or whatever else is there. Like let's bring that out into the world.
Uh,
All right.
uh, my profile is going to be updated soon, so you'll know.
All right. Awesome, Jordan. Talk to you
Awesome.
soon. All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We're just getting started. Take 10 seconds to think about your greatest insight from today's conversation. And if you're ready to go and bring this to a deeper, more applicable level for you, come and join us in an upcoming masterclass. Go to outliersedge.com/masterclass to be coached live and to bring your aspirations, your goals, and your challenges and have them handled in real time. This is high flame, high impact, high transformation. Go to outliersedge.com/masterclass and come experience your next level of leadership.